In this episode, we're going to work on rehabilitating the interior of this 4.3 swapped 1975 Chevy LUV. You can see this door panel is actually not terrible. It's not great. I actually have the plastic bezels that go here, but I actually have replacement door panels, so that's going to be one of the things we're going through. This side is objectively worse. Crank's missing its handle. Beautiful carpet. You can see here it's starting to rust through, but it's actually not rusted through completely. Carpet's coming out. We're putting in a new floor covering. It's not going to be carpet, it's actually just vinyl because I find it a lot easier to clean. The pedals are staying for now. What's wrong with that? I mean, that electrical tape, that's nice. And now here, oofta. So we got a holder patch. This side actually looked okay when I bought the truck, but as soon as I started bouncing down the road a little bit, that metal disintegrated pretty quick. As you can see, the door seal is non-existent. These seat belts, they're ratcheting, so you only get one chance. You got to pull it out and have it to size or stuck. They got this weird thing where you can actually convert it to just a lap belt if you like break it in half when you get in a wreck. We got a seat belt that's going to come up here, pivot, and be more normal. The old lady will quit complaining when she gets in here. I mean, I don't know what you'd complain about. This thing's like riding in a Cadillac. First thing we're going to do is take out the seats, and the seat is actually fastened down through the floor. It's got studs affixed to the seat, and they stick down through the floor, and there's just little nuts on there. It's actually really easy to remove. Just and the seat comes out. It's one of the easiest seats I've ever removed. Next thing, we'll get this old crusty carpet out of here. We'll take a look at the floor and we'll see where we need to patch in. I have a feeling, even though that probably looks like there's something still there, we're probably gonna have to plate in each one of these 4 body mounts. Because that one shows you what that looks like when it's completely gone. These aren't completely gone, but they're probably gone far enough where I might as well plate it in right now and restore the structural integrity of the cab. Keep it, you know, when you're going down the road, you don't want the cab coming off the frame. That's no good. This carpet comes out really easy. It's got these tabs that come down, this comes up. Same thing, it's got this side piece, which mine is almost completely gone, but there's still a little bit there. It's so rusted, I'm probably gonna have to cut it out. This up here, another tab. Yep, just like that. There's a tab there that wasn't latched in. Tabs on the other side. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the whole shift tower assembly.
Well, I took the shifter off.
If you look, that's water. Now this transmission was a mystery transmission when I bought it for $100. It had been sitting outside and I knew it had some water in it, but I thought I'd flushed it all out. Obviously I did not. As you can see, this is disgusting. And this is what we're left with. So I'm gonna go ahead and whip out the shop vac. We'll get this cleaned up and we'll see what we're dealing with the floor. We are finally to the point where I can start hacking in this floor. I've kind of been putting it off to last because anytime I have to cut into the truck, I'm just, you know, I'm not real excited to do it. But it needs to be done. I got my floor plan in from Thailand. I haven't opened the box. We'll show you that here quick. Decided to get this done, get it out of here, get that white truck in here, see if we can get it running. Because that engine needs to go in my blue solid axle 1976 Chevy LUV. I want to get that thing back on the road. It has not been on the road in 3 years. And I miss it. I want to drive it. I like driving these old turds. So let's get to it. Let's open up these floor pans, see what they look like. They're packaged very well. Oh, very nice. One corner did get a bit boogered. He tried to wrap them and cover them with cardboard here. They did come in clear from Thailand though, so all in all, pretty good. Is this the one I need? I'm only gonna put in the driver's side because it's the foobed up one. Well, the pan appears to fit the contour fairly well throughout the most part. Then I got this part over here where you can see this raised portion for the seat. That feature is not incorporated into this patch pan at all. Well, if my floor was just rusty here back, I'd just chop it right there. But I'm really thin right there, so I really want to use this pan. So my plan is I'm going to cut this. You see this flange here? I'm going to cut that off a little bit back, enough so I can form this up to match that profile. Before we do any cutting on this floor, underneath here, as you can see here through the fastener, there are fuel lines. So we need to get those out of the way. There's a couple clips here. Clip here. Clip here. I'm going to go ahead and remove all those clips. Over here at the front, we got a couple not We'll just bend those out of the way, like so. Pulled those lines down away from the floor pan. I went ahead and zip tied them here. That should get them well, not well, but mostly out of the danger zone. I'm just gonna kind of gut out like this. We're gonna get into that right now. I'm just gonna cut out a rectangle right here. That way we can work on rebuilding this pedestal underneath because it's rotted out. That'll get us a more clear view and we can play with the pan a little bit better once I get that cut. Damn, I should be wearing gloves. Stupid. Why am I not wearing gloves? So I got this piece of scrap stainless from work. It was in the scrap bin. Only using stainless steel because that was in the scrap bin and it already had this bend in it. It'll be welded to the wall and like that, and then the floor pan will sit on top of it, and this will help tie this bracket into this sidewall and help support the side of the cab. I realized my microphone was off. I had a fire up there. Got my water bottle, got it soaked down for a little bit more. We're using the wire welder up here because that's thin metal, and we're just kind of down here. We're going to use a stick welder because it's thick and rusty, and it'll get a better burn in than my little tiny wire welder. Proved to myself today that I'm not a body guy. I kind of knew that before. I'm doing a hack job. We'll get it done, but I think I'm just gonna set this up and do a little time lapse because I don't know what I'm doing, and me changing my mind every 5 minutes isn't really helpful because I'm gonna be doing a little cutting, doing a little placing, doing a little cutting, doing a little place, doing a little cutting, see how it fits, do a little cutting, see how it fits, until I finally weld it in. We'll bring you in and I'll let you know. I'll give you an update if I run into something. I think I need to say one more time, I'm not a body guy, and I think you can see why. But I got this place in here, and you can see about how far off. So that is how far off. That is how far I'm going to have to notch out of this plate to get it to fit up against those extra plates I added in because that was rusted out, and I just patched it. This hole is in the right location, so it looks like I don't know how I ended up with needing about a 1/2 of an inch, but I'm going to double check that. We're going to cut this. Alright guys, let's see if I just screwed up big time. Oh, it looks like I actually didn't do too bad. I think I'm going to have to cut a little bit more out of that corner, kind of taper it like that. I'm pretty close there. Probably should have removed a little less material there. Son of a diddly. That's a little short too. Frig. Kind of beat that around that. Beat it into submission. We'll have a little bit of fill in there. For the final fitment adjustments, just little ones. I'm making a little mark. See where there's a tight spot there? I'm just gonna take the grinder and, man, if I could just come over a little bit. I think I'm gonna water that hole just a little bit. I didn't want to, but away she goes. Gonna do one final mark in the final position before we go in tonight, and see where it's really gonna sit. Now that we're kind of halfway more semi-confident, that's where it goes. Only place I think I need to take some out is back here. That all looks okay to me. I'm about 3/8 of an inch, a little less. I'm gonna shoot for that back here too. Before we get into putting in this floor pan patch panel, floor pan patch panel. Woo. Before we get into putting that in, I want to talk to you about some lessons I learned here. This truck, and if you have a LUV and you're needing to do this, your rocker panels are probably rotted out like mine are. Well, if you're going to put in a floor pan and you want to do it right, you probably need to plan on replacing your rocker panels as well, because mine are kind of rusted out. And what I ended up doing was patching in so that it was all sealed up where I'm putting in the pan. There's no rust holes in the cab up. There are still some underneath. My rocker panels are still in the condition they always were, but I patched in kind of a hack job way that I'm not proud of. And I don't want you to be like, that's not right, because I know it's not right. I just kind of filled it in, because really this job I wasn't planning on doing a whole floor pan, but it was just so rusted out that I needed to. And I almost feel bad, like if you're going to go to the work of putting in the floor pan, maybe you should also do that. But that just snowballs, and suddenly I'm doing the whole truck, body job, paint, all that. I don't want to do that. I just want to patch in the floor and make it usable. So that's the reason I kind of cobbled that shit. And that's, Fabricobble garage. That's what I do. I can do a bit of cobbling. And I acknowledge that, and I acknowledge that it's not great. So just know that if you plan on putting in the floor pan, plan to get into some other rust and how that can snowball into suddenly you're rebuilding the whole truck. I chose to stop there, just patch in and keep going, but your results may vary. Well, I think I'm to that point where I can't procrastinate any longer, and I'm going to start tack welding this in. What I'm going to do is tack weld it, because you can see it's not quite down where it needs to be, so I'm going to have to kind of tack weld it, pound, tack weld it, pound, get it to sit down where it needs to go. I wanted to stop really quick and show you guys, this is why I left more away from the line than just getting it right up next there. So if I hadn't left that space, I'd have a gap, and then I'd have to be stuck with a choice. What do I do to fill that in? And that would be more dirty. And that's why I left about 3/8 of an inch, maybe half in some places, all the way around. But you can see there why, because, well, there's my line up there, and there's where it actually ended up. Now I'm just working my way around, basically pounding the pan in submission. I'm putting it where it goes. You can see I had to massage that rib a little bit because the rib doesn't quite go to the end. Beat it down around there. I want it nice and tight against the metal all the way around. I'm gonna have to beat it there. We have a lot of stuff to do around this area, but I'll get back to it. Got a bit of almost a little bit short. I'm just gonna kind of massage the old part. Well, it's in, and did kind of form this around, plug that hole, and you can see my welds here. Now after seeing my welds, you can it might make more sense why I kind of cobble this stuff in here, because if I spent all the money on rockers and installed that, I'd spend a month fixing my welds. That's why I get trucks like this, that I don't have to. This is me practicing, this is me learning. I'm not trying to get this perfect or be a show truck, and I wouldn't even have messed with this floor pan if the whole piece wasn't just so paper thin, rusted out. There are a couple risks I want to show you here. You can see mine caught fire. Yours might want to catch fire with severity depending on how much brake fluid it's saturated with. The more brake fluid, the more violent your combustion. Plastic liner I didn't even realize was in here because I didn't look. That's a good lesson there. Look at everything around where you're welding that can catch fire, that's gasoline, anything like that. I saw fire dripping down here from the other side. What the hell? Came over here, and luckily I had my little squirt bottle of water. I highly recommend that, a good squirt bottle that can get a good scream, because that's what I put this out with. Of course I have fire extinguishers, but you don't want to discharge and smoke your whole garage with fire extinguisher dust. The next moment of truth. I'm going to take these caps off. I'm sure the bolts will just twist off. I've never had one of these not be rusted enough, but you can see the weight reduction there and how this is pushing up into the floor. My plan is to come in here, add a reinforcement plate like that on top of the existing floor, drill a hole, send her all the way. got the floor all plated in. There's no more rust holes in the cab. It is sealed off. Now, it's not done the right way. I didn't cut it out. Well, I did cut out the driver's side floor pan, but the rest of it, I just patched in over the body mounts. I took some stainless plate and we tied it in so that the body mounts would be secured to the cab. I know it's not the right way to do it, but where does it end? I'm not going to redo this whole thing, sheet metal, and then be repainting this thing. I'm just trying to patch the floor so we get some cover on it and make it look decent. I go down the road without losing another pair of headphones through the floor. It is what it is. It's done. I need to bust ass. I need to wire brush it because I want to get that thing primed tonight. Floor painted mostly for corrosion purposes. I want it nice and coated. Usually I do an undercoating on there, but this time I did paint because I got some sound deadener I want to go on there and I thought it would stick better. So that's the next step here. We're going to pop off these door panels. I got replacements, but we're going to pop those off so we can do sound deadener all on the floor, on the back, and in the doors all at the same time. Hopefully I really knock this out quick. I've never taken off a LUV door panel, but I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. You need a pick to pull the little clip out of the window crank. Need I think it's a number 2 Phillips. Take these screws out, and then you probably don't need, but make it easier, I got these to pop out the door snaps. Like you need a regular number 1 screw Phillips for that. So go ahead and take these out. Oh, there it is. That's it. Dust shielding in here is non-existent anymore. Wow, that is crusty. Another thing I need to adjust while I'm in here, this is too loose. When I'm driving down the road, it blows shut. And you know, this is the AC. So we can't be having the AC turn off when I'm going down the road. I need it to stay stiff. So I felt up under here, up in here, and it feels like there is a nut with a spring. A nut against the spring that holds tension on this. So I'm just gonna give her a couple cranks and see what the window feels like. All right guys, it's a 10 millimeter for your reference. Right now, I can just turn it by hand. Oh yeah, perfect. That'll be so much nicer. Alright, I better not overdo it. Alright, that's good. What we got here, we've got a roller. With a roller, your contact patch is just a narrow little strip, about like that. So all your force at any one time is applied over a lesser amount of area, which increases your pressure. Helps you get it pushed down harder. Alright, what I'm opening up now is the butyl sound deadener. Comes in sheets about that size. I think I'm just going to be able to cut it with a knife. Maybe I'll try scissors. We'll see what works. It also has a foil back, but it's a lot lighter, and it's a foam, and it looks like it comes on a roll. So this will go on top of the butyl. All right, my plan is I'm going to start with the butyl, and I'm going to start on the floor. That way I make sure I have enough. Normally, your first step would probably be to clean and prepare the surface, but this has been painted and it is clean. I wiped it down again. I contour that to there. And I'm going to kind of trace that and then cut it out. Go a little bit lower there. Heavy duty kitchen shears. They used to advertise these by showing that you cut a penny in half. But this stuff feels like you could use regular any old scissors. And all the way up here. I'll pull some more paper back here. Ooh. Yeah, this stuff really kind of easy to work with here. All right, we're pretty much gonna do that on repeat. I'm gonna work my way that way and then go on with the next strip. Well, the first layer of sound deadening is in, well, on the floor anyway. I got some other places I want to tuck it in. You can see back there, where that panel is. I want to tuck it in there. I want to tuck it in the doors. It's going to take a while. I'm not going to film any of it because same as putting it on the floor. It's just pretty boring. But it does take a bit of time. I'll show you the tough spots. Any area where you have a large profile change, because these are flat sheets. They will curve some, but they don't want to curve much. And I can't tell you the secret. I mean, if you really want stuff to lay flat, you're going to want to cut smaller sheets around the problem. I mean, these are some high ridges over here where they're reinforced over the drive shaft. This area here, you can see it kind of wanted to wrinkle up. And then it split there. I put a little bit more on top because it gets tight and it doesn't want to contour that much. It will contour some. You see it contours to these good. I'm not Project Farm here, but I want to show you guys the sound difference before and after the deadening. I'm just going to kind of hit it on the back. I'm going to do my best to hit it the same amplitude both before and after. I'll start light. It's actually making this vibrate. When I get the door panel on there, I think it'll be even quieter. Now listen to a knock compared to this. Really muffles it. Alright, now this stuff is super sticky and it actually contours. It conforms a little bit easier. You can see here in this spot where it's really asking a lot of it. It did still rip the top layer. But the main thing is you don't even want to use a roller. It's too much. It'll cut through the foil. Really, this stuff sticks. It's so sticky. You just kind of push down like that as you go along, just with your finger. And you dang sure you don't want to peel off too much of the backing at once because it will stick. And you can't peel it up. It'll rip the foam. Let's go ahead and open up this box, see what this floor covering looks like. Remember if they gave me that before. Nice. Well, there it is in all its glory. The instructions say to fold it in half like a taco. Put it in here like this, roll it out, and trim it as you run into things. Well, there's not much to run into. The main thing you got to work around in this LUV is this center console here. This thing literally sits on the metal here. You can see where it's marked up. That's because I took a pry bar in there and I clearanced that. Because if you don't, you can't even get the rug up underneath there. It's a hell of a deal. So I clearanced it ahead of time. First thing I'm going to do is we'll get this in here like a taco or whatever, and we'll slide it under that and get it back behind there and then try to trim it with it up there. It kind of sucks behind the pedals. I don't think it's too bad over here. After a lot of struggling, I finally got the floor covering into the truck. Now, I don't know, sorry, I was refilling the transmission and I got a little bit in my eye. I don't know, you know the hand pump with the two hoses on it? You're pumping with two hands. Who's supposed to hold this hose and who's supposed to hold this hose? So I'm kind of like in there and yeah, it's been a rough day. I mean, this cosmetic stuff just whoops my ass. I need to get back to working on engines and stuff because this is not my forte. I just don't have the patience for it. But the synthetic mat here that I put in, I don't know what it's shaped for. An S10, something. It can't be a LUV because it's like, it's kind of got a center hump. The seat mounts don't mount where the mounts go. So it was a total mess. I tried to fight and get it to lay. I ended up kind of cutting a relief cut in it on the driver's side, which I hate doing, but it just would not lay flat. So I'll show you to it here. But it's in. I'm going to go ahead and throw a new pad in the back of the seat, throw that in, seat cover, and we're going to throw these door panels on. I think you get how those go on, reverse how they come off. And I got some jam covers there from Stanix Garage. I'm going to throw those on and wipe the dash down. The interior is going to be done. I'm going to get this thing out of here. We'll start working on stuff. I'm more my, you know, my thing. This stuff, whew, that's for the bees. You can see back in that corner, she just did not want to lay. I had to jam a couple screws in. Seat mounts are right there. Well, I got these LUV plates. They're a really great piece. I got them from Stanix Garage online. He's got a YouTube channel too. He's got a lot of cool stuff on there. But yeah, it looks like he machined the LUV in here, and it's a beautiful piece, and I think it really transforms this doorway. I'm gonna go with the pop rivet here. I think that'll leave the cleanest finish there. And I kind of looked at the old holes in the old trim and centered it. Keep bumping the oh yeah. Took me about a week longer than I wanted, but I'm finally to the stage. I'm putting these beautiful door panels on, and the interior of this thing will be wrapped up. I think these are made in Thailand as well, a garage. It comes with some snaps. I'm going to go ahead and get those slapped on. They do have a positive snap to them. That's like that. Okay, so there is a hole in the back side of the cardboard. It just looks like you need to poke a hole through this deal. I guess it gives you the option if you want to do different handles. Oh, we're there. I don't love the brown on the black, but I don't think it looks too bad. Got another treat especial that I picked up from Stanix Garage. Pretty nice piece too. Finish off the look. Going on the first drive here with the sound deadener and everything installed, the interior, and it's definitely quieter. Now, I am driving about 68 to 70 miles an hour, you know, going uphill and everything, so we'll get a good representation of real highway driving. It makes the wind noise more pronounced. It seems to be mostly on that side. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do anything about the wind noise because the crank window seals, you can see here, they're just kind of shot, and I don't think anybody makes a replacement for them. I've cracked both windows, take care of that vacuum whistling noise we got going on, and it's not too bad.